Well, good morning, magandang umaga. Welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Today's a catch-up episode. We haven't done anything like shout-outs. We haven't done anything about what's been going on inside the backyard in quite some time. We've had so many DIY projects, and we're gonna jump over that for a short time here, and we're gonna do some catch-up on what we traditionally do here at My PI Dream. Let's go ahead and get today's episode started. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now we're going to start today's episode, we're going to just kind of walk around the yard. Over the winter time, even though things grow over the winter time here, and it's green, it stays green 365 days of the year. And here in the Philippines, there are some things that actually grow more than others, and there are things that really start blossoming out when it becomes spring and then the early summer period. We're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. Also, what we're going to do in the middle of each one of these, we're going to do something a little bit different. We normally sit down and we'll do a shout out for all the people that have visited us. Today's going to be a special kind of an episode because not only are we going to do a shout out for all these wonderful people who took their time out to come visit us here at Villa Feliz, but we're going to show you some little short clips. We have some video clips of some very interesting stuff that happened with some of those visits. So we're going to kind of mix and mingle. It's going to be like backyard looking at something, and then we're going to have a visitor. Let's go ahead and get that started. All right, let's go ahead and start with the coconuts. Our coconuts have been growing really well here, and we have three coconut trees. We have three coconut trees that are planted around the Bahay Kubo here. We have one right here, and this was a seedling from the original yard back before there was a house here. This is a seedling. So this is about 6 years old, this seedling right here. And this one, if you remember from the early series when I used to live in the apartment in Barangay, and I was walking down the street one day, my good friend Ramil Rivera, he handed me one of these seedlings, and I carried it. I walked it in over like 2 kilometers from my apartment all the way here. And I think this might be a different variety because I noticed that these are, all the coconuts on here, they're gold. They have something like a dwarf variety over here. It's called golden coconuts, and this might be, I'm not sure, it could be a traditional one, and if it's a traditional one, it will grow very tall, like these huge coconut trees over here, like our coconut tree in our front yard, which is this one over here. You see this one here, we just recently had it trimmed back because it had so many coconuts and it's very difficult to park underneath it when it has lots of coconuts. So we had it trimmed back pretty aggressively. Let's go on to the next thing in our list of things that are in the backyard. Now, a day wouldn't be complete here at Villa Feliz if we didn't go back and take a look at some of our bananas. Remember, this side of our pavilion area, this is our pavilion space here. And then over here, we have our mini plantation, I like to call it, of our bananas. And this area here are all Cavendish. And you can even see we have Cavendish, and we just harvested a whole stack of the Cavendish before, and we're down to about 10 bananas now. But these will be ready to pick maybe maybe about less than a week. These will be ready to pick. And how do you know when it's time to pick bananas off of your banana plants? Well, you see these little things right here? Well, when they naturally, well, they're not ready. They're not naturally falling off. But when they naturally fall off, these little crispy critters on the end, then it's about time for you to go ahead and pull your bananas off your banana plant. You don't want them to really get yellow. You don't want them to yellow on the vine, because if you take them off when they're yellow, then they're only going to last a few days, 2 to 3 days inside your house, and then you have to throw them away because they'll be too ripe. So we have the Cavendish, which are all these bananas here, as well as these are Lakatan, and then we have Lantundan, or vice versa. I don't know. I keep forgetting, and I just wait for the bananas to come, and I just know that we have lots of little suckers down here, or the little baby plants, and we just keep the same ones in the same area. Now, while we're on the same topic, I'm just going to walk outside the gate. Even though Villa Feliz is behind the fence, as you can see, Villa Feliz right here. We are behind our fence right here. Our neighbor, our good neighbor behind us, they've allowed us to use their property to go ahead and plant a bunch of banana plants, and they will be turned over to them when they eventually come here. But I just want you to see, we have lots of banana plants back here, and this is where we just harvested several of the bananas of the 10 that I was talking about was the last ones that we have inside the house. We have banana plants all over, and let's see if there's any back here that actually have some bananas on the plant right now. Well, you can see we have some bananas here. Oh, and these small ones, these are my favorite. These are the Dimaculangan. These, they're smaller, but what they taste very citrusy on the inside. So we have a variety of all kind of banana plants back here on our neighbor's lot as well. I just want to show you on the outside of the property, the streets out here. We planted these, well, back about 5 years ago when the house was just about done, and we started planting these inside, these palms out here inside the planting strip. And they provide a very nice screening, so we have a little bit of privacy inside the yard, but yet you can still see Villa Feliz over here. And it makes for a very tropical, warm feeling around the house.
Appreciation of all that you guys have offered to your entire audience and myself and Mary Lou as well, and a realization that you guys are really well versed in music. Music is your heart and soul, I can tell, right? And which is beautiful. So I make things that as personal as I can for people. That's the music room.
Yes.
That's the music room. Oh, that's beautiful.
God, it's so touching.
Ah. Now you guys can do the honors, and each of those hooks is for one of your guitars.
Whoa!
And I
know what that is.
They are handcrafted.
Oh my God! Is this a bass?
It's a bass guitar. It's got four strings on it.
Oh my
And
God!
that hangs up
On
over
your
there.
spot.
Over there.
On your spot.
And
Oh.
All the way up, on the neck.
On the neck.
Ah.
Bring it
Let's sit
down.
down. There you go.
There you go.
Look at there. Wow. Wow. Look at that. This is so neat. Oh, we're going to have to display that in the basement, in the music room.
There you
on
go.
Stage. Look at that. Well, thank you so.
You're very welcome.
Very much. That is beautiful. All right, we'll head back inside and we'll look at some of the other plant growth that's going on here in the backyard of Villa Feliz. This is our calamansi tree. You remember our calamansi tree that just produces so much, and it's still producing lots and lots. As a matter of fact, I really need today. You see, when calamansi starts going from green and it starts getting a little bit of an orange color, it's a little bit overripe, but it's still okay. It's still okay. It'll be a little bit sweeter. Most of the calamansi that we have here on this tree is very healthy looking. And it makes great juice. Like if you want to make calamansi aid or calamansi juice, we do this almost every day. We keep our refrigerator always stocked with calamansi and lime. Speaking of lime, let's go take a look at our lime tree. Now this is our lime tree, and I got to tell you, this year has been incredible with the production of limes on this tree. Now this is very, very small. I just picked all the limes and I made several bottles, several liters of lime juice. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am starting to prefer lime juice, or limeade is what I call it, better than calamansi, although I like both of them. If I had my preferences and I were to order, I would order lime juice. You can see now when it starts getting a little bit yellow, the same rule applies with the limes as it does with the calamansi. When they start changing color, it's about time to pick these and they're ready to go ahead and squeeze. Now I really want you to see, the little blossoms here. They've gone beyond blossoms and they're starting to grow even more and more limes. This tree in about 60 to 90 days, this is going to be full of limes all over it. So this tree is doing really good. Now we have another lime tree. Let's go ahead and walk over to our other lime tree. Now this lime tree is poolside. This used to be full. You can see where I recently cut it back. I pruned it back because this was so full. It was becoming very difficult to walk by on our path back to the waterfall. So what I did was I pruned this back right here, and I want to make this top. It's kind of shaping, I guess you can say. So what I did was I cut all of these off, and there was a bunch of limes on the bottom. I used what limes I could, and the smaller ones, I had to toss them because they weren't ready. But what this is going to promote, this will promote better growth of the limes on the top tier section. And my goal here is to have a trunk, then have a very nice rounded pruned top on here. So you can just pick your limes from the top up here. We'll see how that goes. We'll do follow-ups on this lime tree as time goes on. Now we are just going to follow along wherever we're at in the yard. Back here, this is another avocado inside a pot. I've yet to get any avocados or any type of avocado blossom on this one yet, but I'm in no hurry for this one. I really don't want it to be too big. I want it to be small, more decoration and aesthetics than for avocado growth, but it will grow avocados at one time. Now this is actually a avocado that was grown from a seed. So by seed, it will take several more years before it will actually produce a fruit. So normally people will plant something from a grafted branch off of an already producing tree. That way in 1 to 2 years, you're normally getting fruit. This is another calamansi that's inside a pot down here. You can see it's already producing calamansi as well. What else do we have? Oh, the raised bed garden back here. We have been doing really well with our tomatoes. I just picked, the house is full of tomatoes right now, but you can see we have some tomatoes here, and I will be picking like this one over here that has a little bit of red. I'll probably be picking that one by the end of today, and I will let it ripe inside the house, because if you leave it out here and it ripens out here, the insects will get to them very, very quickly. We have some new tomato plants over here. We actually got it from our Canadian neighbor across the street, V. She has a big tomato garden inside her backyard, and she spread a bunch of seeds, and she had more tomato plants than she could use at her own place, so she gave these stars, and we'll be having the next generation of our tomato plants back here. These are dew hot. But these grow to be very big, so we're going to take these out of here pretty soon, and they produce something that's like a plum, a very small plum, and we'll put these in pots as well, because these will grow into huge trees. We got some eggplant over here. You can see our eggplant, and we don't have very many. It's a small amount, and we don't have a very big raised bed garden, but it's actually fun. We moved some of our peppercorn from that area, and we wrapped it around a post here. We have lots of peppercorn. Here, let me show you the peppercorn. It's already there, and it's not very far from turning black to where we'll be able to use it and actually grind up to make pepper. I just planted some lavender here. They look really weak. And what they'll do is they'll root. They're just clippings from some of the older. What happens, lavender will get really big, and it'll be viney or a lot of stem. And you just clip the ends off like what we did here. And some of them will come back, some of them won't. So you just plant a bunch of them like we did around here. And lavender is really good in your garden because it helps keep away a lot of the insects. So it's got that smell, you know.
If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you some art, a Picasso or a Garfunkel. And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love.
Now our dragon fruit produced early this year. We were getting dragon fruit back in November and December. And since I pulled off, we got about, I don't know, 6 or 8 dragon fruit off of this corner plant right here. And since I harvested all those, I haven't gotten anything. So it's been about 3 or 4 months since even any blossoms have come on this plant right here. I was hoping we had some dragon fruit because we have a guest coming in very soon from the US, and we'll probably do an interview with him while he's here. And he was looking so forward to the Villa Feliz dragon fruit, but I don't think it's going to be ready by the time he comes here. Now, this is a guava. This is a guava tree right here. It was really big. I pruned it down. When I pruned it down, you see all this new growth that's coming out right here. I don't want it too tall because it makes it very difficult to harvest. And I want it to be a little rounded and fuller at about this height that we have right here. And it will, and you'll see, like when you trim back, prune back on a big tree like this right here, you want to look for branches that are actually out and starting and they have a little bit of a bud like this. And if they've started that, you just prune above it and then it'll produce more on the stem that it actually has the production of the leaf, and you'll get more, and it will do like this is doing right here. So in a couple of months we'll revisit the guava tree right here, and hopefully we have some guava blossoms that are actually starting on this tree. Now same for our pomegranate right here. This pomegranate right now is about 2 meters tall. It was about 5 meters tall. It was way up above the mango tree here. So I pruned it back really heavy at the during the winter time. And you see we have lots of very nice healthy leaves that are coming on the pomegranate. And this is really good. We don't want it to grow too big, and we have to kind of prune some of the other plants around so it actually gets some light. But we always get production over like the last 3 years. We've gotten production of pomegranate off of this tree. Now, this is a mistake here, and well, really not a mistake. I used some compost back here for our cacao tree. This is the cacao tree that we got from Edgar. Remember Edgar that has the plant nursery over in Rosario. And again, thank you, Edgar. Thank you for always the wonderful plants that I get from your plant nursery. But what I did, to promote the growth and early growth and healthy growth of the cacao, what I did was I used a bunch of compost from our composter behind the pavilion over there. And it was full of papaya seeds from, you know, when you clean out your papaya and you have the rind after you've eaten the fruit inside there, and it was inside there. And obviously, those seeds were in part of the compost here. So we have to move these. Maybe we'll even move these today. We'll find a good home for these. But we want to pull these back because they will grow very, very fast. And we want to continue promoting growth through our cacao that produces chocolate. Now, another tree that I have really done aggressive pruning to, let me get it where the sun isn't in your eyes, is this cashew tree. Now this cashew tree, it grew way up above our roof over here, and I cut this back in half. It has half of the height that we had before, but you can see now we're getting lots of blossoms. We will get lots of every year we get lots of cashews from this tree right here. And remember, I don't really eat the cashew nut because it really, one tree isn't really enough. The time and effort that it takes to produce the cashews, it's not worth it for one tree. But one thing that you get from the cashew fruit is a very luscious and watery and nutritious fruit that comes from that. So we kind of toss the cashew and we actually eat the fruit around here. And you can see that on one of our earlier videos. Now an update on our Indian mango. Our Indian mango here, it is very healthy. Unfortunately, it's not producing. We sprayed earlier we sprayed a blossom inducer on this tree right here, and that was back in December. Normally December is when you do it, but we had a very strange winter here in the Philippines, if you've been following us, and it was very cold and very wet, extremely cold and wet for the normal weather pattern that we have over here. And I've spoken with, and we didn't get any blossoms off of that spray. And I actually talked with other people who have farms that have mangoes, and they had the same issue. Even professionals were having problems with their forced blossoming of their mango trees. So I think I think we're okay. We can do one more. And what's the key? Well, how do you know when you can spray? Well, it has to do with the leaves. It has to do with the leaves. You see how this kind of cracks and breaks? It shows it's a little bit of a mature, not very soft, not like new growth. When you have it, when the leaves are kind of brittle, when you close them up like that, it shows it's a little mature, and you can go ahead and spray your tree when it's in that state. We have an open gate policy here at Villa Feliz, and anybody might show up at any time. Let's see, let's see who's in my pavilion right now.
My name is Bianca Dimaculangan. I am 20 years old and from Mataas na Kahoy, Batangas.
Still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough. Never be enough for me. Never enough for me. For me. For me. To see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Let it go, let it go. I'm one with the wind and sky. Let it go, let it go. You'll never see me cry.
Tree. Very different from the avocado that we have in the pot in the back. You can see avocado trees actually grow pretty big. And it has lots of blossoms. This is our first year getting blossoms. And I have a feeling that when I sprayed this tree to push the blossoming, I think some of the overspray came over to the avocado over here, which is, it can happen. And if you notice that around a tree that you do the enhancer, the blossom enhancer to, and you notice that you're getting blossoms from trees that you don't normally do, that's probably the case. That's probably what happened. Now this plant that's poolside, this is a mangosteen. This has a very nice fruit that comes along with the mangosteen. We have two of these. We have this one that is by the pool, and I'm going to walk to the other one over here. I should have looked at it when we were over here by the pavilion, but we have one right here. And they're both doing very, very well. We'll probably see some fruits on this probably in the next 2 or 3 years. It's a very slow growing plant, but it's a very big tree once it does grow. So again, this is one of the trees here that we're going to have to do some aggressive pruning to. Now over here, right next to the calamansi, we have a bolete tree. And a lot of people don't put bolete trees inside their house here in the Philippines. There's some superstition that's associated with bolete trees. This is, I think some people call this the ghost tree. It's associated with spirits and ghosts and things like that. But if you do nice pruning on the bolete, which in the United States we called this a ficus tree. It's a ficus tree. You can see by the leaf here, and it makes a very nice shade tree, a very nice umbrella cover. And we put that over here because we sit out here and we have coffee underneath the bolete tree. Something else that one of the reasons why people don't plant bolete trees around is because of the root structure. If you're not very careful, the roots are very aggressive on the bolete tree. You don't see it here, but they were here. They have lateral roots that go out. Well, you can see over here. You see this? Can you see the root right here? So the lateral roots will go out and they will actually cause damage. They'll cause damage to foundations, to walls and things like that. But it also has a taproot as well. So what you could do, you have to promote more towards the taproot, the deep root that's going in, as opposed to the lateral feeders. But you can't, what I do is I cut mine, but you cannot cut all of them at one time. So what we do, we cut about a third. So the lateral feeders, there were some huge roots that were going here and headed towards our house over here. So we cut about a third on this side and we remove them. And then we just recently, you can kind of see the indention right here. We had some over here that were growing, then we cut these. And we still, the one I showed you over here, we're not going to cut that one yet. We're going to allow the tree to heal itself just a little bit. You can see these are all lateral feeders right here. This one was already cut. So, but you don't do it all at the same time, because if you do all the lateral feeders at once, you will kill your tree. So you do a little bit, so they stop growing and they won't go out, and then you wait several months. You maybe wait 6 months, then you cut another third, then you wait 6 months and then you do another one. And then the tree will survive and thrive, and then you'll have a beautiful cover just like we have right here, without the fear of it doing any damage to your property. Now, did somebody say pineapple? We have more pineapple plants than we can shake a stick at back here, and they're all doing really good. Now, these smaller ones right here, we actually, the original one that we have came from Tagaytay. It came from our good friend Michelle in the barangay, and she brought us one, and each year from that one, you'll get maybe 3 or 4 more. From those 3 or 4 more, you'll get 3 or 4 more from each one of those, and they just start growing like crazy. You just take the crown once you remove the pineapple, and then you'll also have some little suckers that will go along the bottom, and you can transplant those as well. So from one, you get many. And again, we have them all over the place. You can see we'll be getting pineapples this year. These pineapples are 2 years old. It takes 2 years normally to get pineapples. They're pineapple back there. You can see here. They're everywhere. Every time we eat a pineapple, we always save the crown. And if it came from a plant like this, we'll take all the suckers, and this will continue to add pineapples. And they're very easy to grow. You can even grow pineapples in a pot. Now, this is a Chico tree. I really like the Chico fruit. It's almost like a coffee kind of a fruit. Each year we get blossoms like this, but we've never gotten the fruit yet. Now, a plant will let you know when it's really ready to produce a fruit. And normally if it drops a fruit, it means nature is telling it it's not ready yet, either because of weight or because it knows the production isn't going to be successful. That's the amazing thing about nature. So we'll keep an eye on the Chico tree here as well. And if we get anything, if it shows like we're going to get some fruit, we'll report that later on. Now right here by the house is our only papaya tree that we still have in the backyard, other than the little seedlings I showed you on the other side, and we're going to transplant those someplace else. But this is a red lady variety, and it will grow just about anywhere, and it produces very nice papaya. So as soon as this starts getting just a little bit yellow, we'll go ahead and bring these in for breakfast. We'll cut it up for breakfast. Now, although not fruit, this is our front yard that we have, our gardens, and these are for show. These are our relaxing gardens in the front. Ness won't let me put anything in the front other than that, the coconut tree that we already have out here for producing any type of a fruit or vegetable. This is a relaxing area. Well, this is my relaxing area that I put together. This is the garden that I designed, and this is the garden. This is Nessa's Zen garden over here that she designed along with the landscape company. And this is where we are. Again, it's the beginning of the summer. We'll probably have to do a little TLC to this as we're coming. You can see we're getting a lot of the mahogany leaves that are falling from directly across the street. But this is Nessa's area. She'll come out and sit here on the bench and just sit here, and it's a great meditation spot. Now, I also want you to see the grass. The grass is doing really well here. For those who are interested in putting down a yard and grass in the Philippines, there's normally 3 kinds of grass that people have here. It will be carabao, it will be frog grass, and it will be what we have right here. And this is bluegrass right here. This is closer to what we would normally find in our yards in the United States. Now, what I like about the bluegrass as opposed to the grasses you would normally find in most yards in the Philippines is that the bluegrass it's like carpet. It's one of those kind of things you just want to run your toes through all the blades of the grass out here, and it's very comfortable. But it does take more maintenance than does the frog grass and the carabao. Carabao, maybe you trim it a little bit once a month or once every couple of months. It's a very little bit of maintenance that you have to do with it. Whereas the bluegrass, it's pretty much every 1 to 2 weeks you really should cut it. And this really likes to be watered over the summertime.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Oh, Mr. Postman. Oh yeah. Please, Mr. Postman. Oh, you gotta wait a minute. You gotta check and see one more time for me. You gotta wait.
Now that's about it for today's episode. This episode was long in coming. I can't tell you how many videos that I started out. They were already done. I had it inside a file folder, and just other projects came up, and I'm kind of glad I waited because there's been a lot of evolution, progression going on inside the backyard, as you can see. Probably from the last time you saw the last episode that we did an update in the backyard of Villa Feliz. I want to thank all of the wonderful people who stopped by over the past few months and over the years that we've been running the vlog here inside Villa Feliz. It's wonderful to make contact, to shake hands, to actually see a face associated with some of the names in the emails and the comments and the Facebook mentions that we've been receiving. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to stop by and say hello here and sharing some of your experiences. And also those who did the extra to come over and do like perform in our basement or perform in our pavilion inside the backyard here in Villa Feliz. Thank you very much for those great times and great memories that we will always keep in our minds. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on the little My PI Dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed, and if you ring that bell, you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So from right here in the backyard of the beautiful Philippines, Villa Feliz, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.